welcome to Image and Interior Insights. I'm Christina with Aesthetics and Style. And this week, we're going to talk about focal points. It is something we touched on in the episode where we talked about art, but I feel that focal points in interior design is so important that it really deserves a little more attention. So what is a focal point? I feel that sometimes it's one of those words that we use a lot, but maybe not everyone understands. So what a focal point is, it's the center of interest, the center of attention. And in interior design, it really is the star of the room. It's where you want the eyes to land first. The emphasis in the room that you then kind of create everything around. So because it is where you want the eyes, or the eyes will land first, you want to make sure that it's intentional and not just something that happened to be there without you really wanting it to be center of attention. Now, focal points can be natural focal points, the way your house is built or the way the space is laid out, or you create your own. So today we're going to go through both. So let's see, how do we work with focal points? One of the best natural focal points are big windows or big French doors, something that shows the nature outside, and your eyes are naturally going to travel there. So with a focal point like this, your job is to make sure not to destroy it as much as possible and not cover it up as much as possible. Another natural focal point is a fireplace. I don't have one of those, so I can't show you, but I think you all know what I'm talking about. But a fireplace can really ground the room, and it's something that you can then work from and work around. So natural focal points are sort of built into your house. But what if you don't have big windows or fireplace? What do we do then? Well, let's check it out. So when creating your own focal points, as I said before, art works great. So does mirrors. The important thing is to make sure that you pick pieces that are big enough to really command the space and become a focal point, and also where they're hung. Usually, if it's a space where you're walking around or you're walking in, you want it hung at eye level, so that it is really the center. I see often art hung a little too high, sometimes too low, but more commonly too high. Now here, this mirror is hung a little lower. This is because this is one of my Zoom backdrops. So when I sit down, it's more in the center of eye level. But then around your focal point, you can create little decorations, smaller pieces. That's totally fine. Just make sure you don't have several that's the same size, because then they start competing. But again, mirrors, artwork, great focal points. Another great focal point is an accent wall, usually placed right opposite the entry to the room. So it's the first thing you see when you come in. Now, in today's living room, the TV has taken center stage, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So unfortunately, they very often become the focal point, even though it might not be what we really want the eye to be drawn to. So a great way to kind of disguise the TV is to hide it either in a built-in accent wall like I have here, or it could be just with wallpaper behind it, or some other kind of wall texture, or even just with a different colored paint. That way, yes, your eye is going to be drawn to the accent wall, but the TV does not necessarily take center stage. In our kitchens, our backsplash works great as focal points. It's where you can pop color and have some fun. But if you have more of a neutral kitchen where the backsplash is a solid color, or it's even the same stone as you have in your countertops carried up onto the backsplash, you will want another focal point in the kitchen. Now, if you have a vent hood, I don't, but if you have a vent hood, that can act as a great focal point, and there are some beautiful ones out there right now. A fun light fixture can be over the island or center place in your kitchen. Or like I have here, my favorite faucet of all times. That can also act as great focal points. Again, just something to where the eye is drawn and lands. Now, statement furniture and light fixtures can also be great focal points. And for furniture, it would be something you see a big dining set, or in a bedroom, big headboard becomes the focal point. But if you have a more neutral dining set, then light fixture is a great focal point. Those are some of the things we had to talk about today. Just keep in mind things to avoid with focal points. Having too many going on at the same time. You can have one and you can have a secondary one, that's fine. But make sure you don't have too much going on at the same time. That's going to be confusing for the eye and draw away attention. But in our open concepts today, focal points is also a great way to define the space within the openness. So definitely great way to really bring attention to certain things in your room and to make sure it's not just free floating. I hope that gave you some help, and if you have any questions, you know you can always reach out. Until next time, chic happens. Bye-bye.